Hey guys, what's up? It's Dragoon here, and welcome to another episode of the Anime Corner. Today with me, I have a very special guest. You've probably seen him on my channel before, but just in case, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? What are you doing here?
I'm Matt. I'm from Matt's Mad Lab. I have a channel where I do gaming videos mostly, and I do anime reviews every once in a while, as well as game reviews and other tech reviews. And so if you're interested in that stuff, just stop by and we'll have a good time together.
Alright, we're going to have a good time together right now, though. So what is going on today? It is Thursday night. We're a little bit later than we planned, but we had school and work to do because we're busy people, what can we say? But what happened today? The last and final episode of Tokyo Ghoul Route A premiered today, and we just finished watching it. So, as I mentioned before in the last episode of the Anime Corner, we were going to be talking about it. Talking about our opinions on the series as a whole, but mostly talking about what happened in this final episode and how we felt about it. So, let's go ahead and get started just talking about what we thought about this series as a whole. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about initially. So, Tokyo Ghoul Route A kind of surprised us. What was it, last semester is when it started?
Yeah.
Because we had watched Tokyo Ghoul. We used to watch it, ironically enough, we watched it at nighttime because it was kind of spooky, busy. Yeah. It was kind of that created that atmosphere for it. But the original anime, and as a lot of fans of the series would probably agree with me in saying this, it was lacking, and mostly in the sense that I know for a fact, not that I've looked, but from what I've had many people tell me, the anime skipped a lot of the stuff that happened in the manga to make it shorter because it's only like, what, 12 episodes? Yeah. So, yes, both Matt and I believe we both found the first anime rather really lacking. Slow. It was slow. There was things that happened, and we were like, wait, why? There wasn't enough substance for each chunk of the plot that had happened in the original anime. Not that we thought it was particularly bad, but it certainly was not great. However, I think the last episode was
last episode of the first season
was what really got us, because Kaneki versus Jason was just pretty incredible.
It was crazy. It
was a great episode. As everybody knows, Tokyo Ghoul does kind of suffer from a lot of censoring, but that's kind of whatever. It sucks, but at the same time, what can you do? But yeah, it was a great fight. It was something that was like, wow. It definitely had that wow factor to it. And so when Tokyo Ghoul Route A was announced, following up that right there, we were both pretty excited.
Yeah. It was very exciting to be able to watch Route A after what we just saw in the final episode, because you imagine it's slow throughout the whole first season, throughout all Tokyo Ghoul, it's slow. All the way up to the final episode where a million things happen and it's so fast-paced, and then this new Route A comes out that follows immediately after this episode. It was really exciting.
It was, and we knew... It was funny enough, we knew Kaneki would get the white hair, but he doesn't get until what was the last episode, right?
Yeah.
But now he's got it in Route A, and so Route A for us, I think, was all about, we wanted to see more of Kaneki, new Kaneki, because it was like, okay, what is going to happen with this guy? And to be completely honest with you, I didn't get enough of him in Route A.
Yeah, neither did I.
Like, he left Anteiku and was like, whoa, what's going to happen now? And then
there were a few episodes where I feel like we didn't see him very often.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was just a story choice or it was a choice that the anime did, because, I know that the manga and the anime were a little different in that case, just like in the original anime.
And then there was a part in Route A in which Kaneki does get a lot of screen time, and he starts kicking a lot of butt and taking a lot of names. And I personally enjoyed that part, but then I feel like they did that almost half-heartedly, because after he did all that, he just kind of stopped and faded away again.
He was very much an absent main character. What I did like that Route A did, to some degree, it did show the plot from more than one angle.
Yeah,
because you learned a lot more about the police force in Route A. For me personally, I would have, like I said before, I would have rather seen Kaneki. I wanted to see more of him, not necessarily the police force, but at the same time, I did appreciate getting their point of view.
They kind of made me feel for Amon as the series went on.
Yeah, as the series went on, I definitely did begin to feel for him. So I think that was kind of cool. I think the additional factions of the ghouls was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But I think it all started getting intense in those last couple episodes. I remember a couple weeks ago there was a flashback for the old man, the leader of Anteiku. I don't remember his name. I have a hard time with names in some anime. But man, I definitely felt for him.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I mean, it gave us a lot of backstory on a character we knew very little about. He was this mysterious, like, mentor to Kaneki and everyone else at the coffee shop. And then we got all this background information on who he was and what he's been through. And the fact that he just ran a little coffee shop after everything he was been through was just, like, crazy. Like, you know, a lot of people would, like, swear revenge and they'd fight tooth and nail. But he did fight tooth and nail to defend the coffee shop.
Exactly.
And that was, like, the most heart-wrenching couple of episodes.
It really was. And I remember seeing these flashbacks for this guy. I sent Matt a text. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really like this old guy. I know he's gonna die now, because all of the characters I like end up getting killed in some way. Oh gosh, it's insane.
Well, we don't know what actually happened to him yet.
We don't, and we're gonna touch on that in a minute, and the idea of mystery is a theme, I guess, in Tokyo Ghoul Rude, because it is a theme that runs through the entire series bloodline.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talking about that, the old man, the owl, essentially gets defeated. But what happens?
Afterwards, he gets...
The one-eyed owl comes.
Yeah.
Remember, you guys probably remember that too, and essentially saves him. Do we know if it grabbed the dead body so that it couldn't be turned into a
weapon?
A weapon for the police force? Or did the one-eyed owl, a.k.a. his daughter, rescue him so that he could be healed?
Yeah.
We have no idea.
And one of my favorite parts of that, of that episode was, like, right after the old guy fell and he was seeing his wife, like, in that light. First of all, they took him down 5 versus 1. That says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere, this red meteor comes falling out of the sky, and boom, it's his daughter, the one-eyed owl, ready to destroy everyone. And it was an epic fight.
Yeah, it was.
Just seeing the one-eyed owl swoop in there was pretty exciting.
It was. It definitely was.
So you were talking about the theme of mystery, and you want to go on a little more about that?
Yeah, that was like we mentioned before. We were always constantly wondering throughout the series, what is Kaneki doing? He was really mysterious because he was an absent main character.
Yeah,
and then you have this idea of mystery in which what happened with the old man. You have this idea of mystery in which, moving into the final episode, what happened to Amon?
Exactly.
Because this discussion, just heads up, is just going to be
Spoilers.
jumping everywhere. Spoilers, of course, as would expected of a final episode discussion. But Amon in the last episode is just gone. The police force is trying to reach him, and he's nowhere to be found. And
there's no body, there's no blood,
there's nothing. But yet, his partner, what was her name?
I forget her first name.
Yeah, the blonde girl. His partner's daughter, right? His old partner's daughter.
Yeah, his old partner's daughter.
I forget her name.
Too.
But she was, she developed an attachment towards Amon. She probably wanted to develop some sort of relationship with him, but he's gone, and she just lay knees in the snow, kneeling in the snow,
just frozen,
as if something had happened to him.
Yeah. And all you see there is his radio and his broken Kagian, his broken weapon.
So we have absolutely no clue what's going on in that sense.
Now, continuing on with this mystery theme, for most of the Route A, you don't see Hide.
Yeah.
Like, he pops in and out making cameos every episode, but in this last episode, and the episode before at the end of the second to last episode,
oh my gosh,
it was just such a shocking revelation, because Kaneki wakes up in the coffee shop, and there's somebody in the shadows, like, making coffee, doing something back there. Someone saved Kaneki, because he was laying in the middle of the street dying, I guess. And were just like thinking like, oh, who could it be? Could it be Toka? Could it be someone else from the coffee shop? And then out from the shadows comes Hide.
And he's just,
and
yo,
Kaneki. And then I wasn't expecting what happened in the last episode either.
Yeah, well, right in the second to last episode, at the very end, when you see Hide, we flipped out. We were like, oh my god, it's Kaneki's friend!
Yeah.
Because this whole time...
They have not seen each other.
And we were talking about, I think during the original airing of the first anime, we're like, wow, Hide, if he knows that Kaneki is a ghoul, he probably feels like crap about it. Because it's all his fault, technically. He's the one who convinced Kaneki to go on this date with this girl who ended up
being a ghoul.
Being the ghoul and being the instigator to all of this.
Yeah.
It was all Hide's fault. And like, I'm just like, he probably feels terrible. And now you finally see him, and you see him interacting with Ghoul Kaneki.
For the first time.
For the very first time. And in the last episode, once again, the last episode leaves... It envelops this theme of mystery completely. So Hide and Kaneki are talking in this last episode, and they're kind of reminiscing. He's like, "I've known," and I think for me that was just like this whole thing when we were watching. We were like dead silent.
Yeah, I feel like when he said that, it lifted a huge weight off of Kaneki's shoulders. Yeah. Just to clarify real quick, this was the first time they interacted with the open knowledge that Hide openly said he knew Kaneki was a ghoul. And like Kaneki stared at him for a solid 5 seconds, and then he tried to cover up his ghoul eye. Yeah. And it was just like Hide knew the whole time. Like before you guys were in the coffee shop, he knew.
And he was saying like, "Oh, it must have been hard for you" and stuff like that.
And he was there for him.
It was a very intense moment.
And there were scenes where there was blood dripping on the floor.
And you didn't know. You weren't entirely sure whose blood it was because Kaneki was like this.
Because Kaneki was wounded and it wasn't healing, and he had his hand over it, so I thought it was just Kaneki bleeding.
But then Hide steps out from behind a table,
and he falls into a pool of his own blood.
Yeah, all of that blood was him.
And it just...
Oh my gosh.
It just felt like, there was just like this huge, almost like bowling ball. Just this huge, heavy object that just hit. I mean, I felt like I just got hit across the face when that happened. Yeah. And then all Hide did was look up into Kaneki's eyes, and he was just like, "Let's go home."
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That was so wrenching.
And Kaneki starts crying, and out of his ghoul eye comes like blood. But his ghoul eye transforms back into his regular eye, and it turns into regular tears, and they drip onto Hide, and he says, "Yeah, let's go home." And the next shot, you see Anteiku on fire. Yeah. And Kaneki's walking away with Hide's body.
I feel like this ending was very different from season one's ending, and the fact that season one was all about like violent change. Kaneki's changing to try to become stronger to protect those he loves. He even goes a little crazy. I feel like this ending is more of a cleansing. Like the fact that Kaneki was holding Hide in his arms and Hide died, it almost seemed to bring more humanity into Kaneki's life. Like, it made the ghoul more human.
Exactly. And that's actually a point I was planning to completely bring up, because all through this scene is relatively long in this last episode of Kaneki walking with Hide's body. And he's walking towards the police with Hide's body. And while he's doing this, the scene keeps flashing between black-haired Kaneki and white-haired Kaneki, which is like the balance between human and ghoul Kaneki. Yeah. And his hair, I don't know if his hair, I don't think his hair ever actually changes back to black. But it was the symbolism of Kaneki shifting back and forth between ghoul and human as he's with each very step he takes.
And I think that the Hide, in a sense, had to die for Kaneki to come more in touch with his human side that he may have lost touch with when he fought Jason and left to join Agoi. Yeah. And it just further reinforces the point that Kaneki is a being of both worlds, human and ghoul.
Which means that he's not accepted technically in either side. Yeah. Anteiku was the only one to really accept him as a Ghoul, and
for a while, Aoi Tree accepted him.
Yeah, they accepted him a bit.
I'm not completely sure what his goal of joining them was. I think it may have been just to become stronger.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either.
Maybe they'll explain it later on.
They might, and that's another subject. We'll get to that in just a second. So what happens? Kaneki with Hide's body just walks into this essentially like a spotlight created by like a helicopter, and the next thing that happens is it's just this man, this white-haired man who's like a leader of the police force.
He was able to fight off the one-eyed owl.
Yeah, and just a quick note. I don't know. This could just be me coming up with random theories, but I think, I don't know, I feel like Kaneki and the white-haired man have... I don't remember his name. I feel like they have some sort of relation. Because
they said his name like twice.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. Like Yoshinda or something like that.
Yeah, but I feel like, I agree with you. I feel like there's some definite relation there. Because, I mean, we've never met Kaneki's dad.
Yeah, and maybe that's why Kaneki gets white hair. Because for as far as I know from what I've seen in the anime... That never is explained as to why he gets the white hair.
Yeah, it just happens.
It just happened.
Maybe it's because Jason had white hair and he ate Jason.
Yeah, who knows? No one knows. But I don't know, I just feel like they have a similar facial structure too.
Yeah, they have that very like narrow face.
Yeah, and the eyes. Even Kaneki's eyes are bigger, but like I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
It's very interesting.
It's a thing to think about. But he walks towards Kaneki with a briefcase, and the next thing you know, there's like a sword in front of him.
Yeah,
and the scene's over, and it skips. It goes direct to the credits, and that was the end essentially.
Yeah.
If you didn't stick around for the credits, that is, it was the end. If you stuck around after the credits,
you got a little surprise.
You got a little something else. Toka opens up another coffee shop called Ri, and that I feel like was a big deal because, if I remember correctly, the second Tokyo Ghoul anime or manga is called Tokyo Ghoul Ri. What does that mean?
Maybe
probably getting another anime.
Another anime coming.
Third anime.
Horizon. And I kind of really hope they do because I have so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Like you said, this whole season, Rude was like all about mystery.
And so it's like the way it ended, they're like they have to make a third part. Otherwise, I just feel like the series ends on a really awkward and strange note.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So, there's only one way to find out, and that's to keep waiting and seeing what they announce. But on the same note, talking more about the last episode, I loved when they brought Unravel back for the final episode. Because there was no opening, but they played it during the episode. Yeah. And it was like a piano version. And the emotion that came with that. And it was all played.
Intensified the raw emotion.
It was all played as Kaneki was walking with Hide in his hands. That was incredible. And then I think the animation was really solid for the last episode too.
The animation was really solid.
I think the animation for the series as a whole was kind of hit or miss. Sometimes it was pretty good, other times it was not so great, but I think where it counts, it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Especially the last episode was really, really nice to look at.
It was. I couldn't look away from the TV.
Yeah, right? Mostly because it was just like, what's going on?
It's just like, Hide.
Yeah, I was like, no, he's dead. Oh my
gosh. Could you just imagine that though? You're thrown into this whole world that you barely knew about, that you barely pay attention to, and you have to hide it from your best friend who you've been friends with since childhood. And the next time you really see him, the next time you can really be open with him, he dies in your hands.
Right after, because that's really all Kaneki had left.
Yeah.
Was Hide, who was like his best friend. And that was it. Everyone else is gone. Like, I don't know. I just want to find out what happens.
Yeah, I'm really itching to see what happens.
But as a whole, what did you think of the anime?
As a whole,
now that we know how it ended,
I think the anime is pretty good. I enjoy it. You gotta bear with it in the beginning, like Square Rude in the end of the first season. Kind of, it definitely redeems it in my eyes. but it's just really slow in the beginning, for me at least.
I could definitely agree with that. I think Route A, it's probably the better of the two. I don't know. Like I said, we've only seen the first one time, so it's not like we really went back and watched it all to compare it. But from memory, I think, because my favorite episode of the original was the last one.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I felt like that was when things really was like wow. And I think Route A closed on a solid note, a note that leaves you wanting more, and I'm hoping they do, once, like I said before, fulfill with that, follow through. As a whole, I did appreciate the anime. I thought it was fun to watch. I thought the concept was pretty nice. It was interesting, at least.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I never dreaded watching it. Oh, gotta watch Tokyo Ghoul again.
Yeah, it was always like, all right, it's Thursday, time to see what happens on Tokyo Ghoul, and then we can watch the bad Naruto filler.
We don't need to talk about that. Get that out of here. Something else I want to mention about the series as a whole is you can't really pinpoint who the antagonists are.
Oh yeah, that was.
There are antagonists on both sides, on ghouls and humans alike. And when you first start watching the series, it's like these ghouls are these evil creatures, these vile creatures. They should be destroyed. And then when Kaneki becomes a ghoul, you kind of get an inside view at just how complex the ghoul world is. You do have organizations like Agoi Tree who are mean and they want to hunt humans and they eat humans. But then you have the coffee shop Antaiku, where they don't harm anyone at all. They're contributing to the society, and they don't hunt and eat live people for the most part, I think.
Quick note, just because it reminded me of it. I love the scene. I think it was in the second to last episode when one of the main police officers, whose once again name I forget, he said to the old guy, remember you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was like, I wish I could have sat down and had more coffee with you.
Yeah.
Because they knew this guy was a good guy.
Yeah. But their roles in society put them on opposite sides of a wall and dictated what their actions should be.
I really did appreciate that, because Route A is kind of what really sold that idea.
The fact that it's who's really good, who's really evil. What are these concepts that we call good and evil? Are they really tangible concepts, or are they just constructs to try to be excuses for your actions?
Once again, playing up that theme of mystery. What is such a good question that the anime does prepare to the viewer and really lets you get thinking about what you find to be good or evil, which I thought they did that really well. We talked about that quite a bit.
They did do that really well. And going off what you said earlier about the police going into the coffee shop and having coffee with the old man, I also really like the scene when Kaneki and Amon are facing off in the street.
Oh my gosh!
And Amon has a platoon of troops behind him, and it's just Kaneki on the other side. And Amon says, I wish I could have sat down and had a conversation with you.
I wish we could have met under different circumstances.
Yeah, essentially. And it just brings back that topic of they're on opposite sides of a wall, and they have to do what they have to do.
Yeah.
But Kaneki, I don't think Kaneki killed him.
I don't think it did either, because he didn't kill him the first time.
Yeah, and Kaneki didn't kill anybody in that fight. Right before he faces off with Amon says, because Kaneki's attacked by some soldiers, and he disarms him without killing him, and Amon says he's not killing them. And so I feel like Amon is almost questioning just how good what he is actually doing, because Kaneki is almost being this champion of justice, of what's right, and you have the police trying to gun down old ladies just to kill one ghoul,
and that ghoul protected her.
Yeah, and I almost feel like Amon, after his fight with Kaneki, he deserted the police. His weapon's broken. Kaneki could have killed him, but didn't.
Yeah. So
I feel like he just ditched his radio and left, try to figure himself out and figure out what's really wrong with the world.
And then I just love the comparison between Kaneki versus Amon and part 1 versus part 2. Because if you just look at who Kaneki was, at the end of that fight, when he was fighting Amon, he was saying, please, he was begging Amon to run away so he wouldn't kill him because he could barely control himself in the first anime. In the second anime, Kaneki has just grown to be this lone powerhouse. Yeah. He's powerful and he knows he is, but yet he doesn't like it. And so he shuts himself out from the other characters in the show. And so it's when it's not that his instincts wanted to kill Amon. This time he had enough power and control to just walk away.
Yeah. And I really like the fact that when Kaneki and Amon were fighting for the second time, Kaneki did not want to fight Amon. He said that. He said, I don't want to fight with you. Just let me pass. And Amon says, I can't let you do that. But Kaneki never goes in for like a kill. In fact, Kaneki fights with just like a portion of his power throughout most of that fight. And Kaneki, even though he still didn't want to fight Amon, he was like, you said, he was in perfect control of his power. And he was almost toying with Amon simply because he didn't want to kill him.
He just wanted to knock him down so he could get past because he wanted to protect his friends. And he didn't want to have to hurt people in the process. Yeah. It was pretty crazy. There's still a lot of stuff.
Yeah, when you get down to it, there's a lot of stuff about Tokyo Ghoul that you can analyze and discuss.
But with that, what do you guys think about Tokyo Ghoul Route A, and especially the last episode? If you've been watching the series like we have, we would definitely appreciate it if you left a comment below, commented what you think. We can go ahead and comment. We'll both be watching them, so we can get some discussion going in the comments. Last question before we go ahead and close out: who was your favorite character if you had to pick one? Could you pick one?
If I had to pick one, this is a hard question. It's always a hard question for me because there are so many good characters, so many bad characters. I do kind of like Kaneki, but I feel like if Amon did desert the police force, like I think he might have, I think Amon might be my favorite character because he's taking, like Kaneki, I guess you could say Kaneki's doing this, but Amon would be taking a stand for what he believes is right. He's not letting other people dictate his destiny. He's taking fate into his own hands. And I believe that's something we should all try to do.
Yeah. I definitely agree. As for me, man, it's tough. It really is. I gotta say, I think I follow in a similar vein as you. I gotta say, I think my favorites. I really do like Kaneki, and the thing is, I didn't like him that much initially because he was just whiny. But like he grew, he developed, which is something I think any story needs to have is good character development.
Definitely.
And Kaneki has that. So I gotta say, Kaneki might be my favorite. If I have to see more once I've said before, or think about it a bit more because I just kind of brought this question up. I really liked the old guy too. I don't even remember his name, but I did like him.
He was good.
So he was a good guy. He really cared about the people who he worked with, and it showed up until the very end.
Yeah. And even in the end, he still cared. And he fought to the bitter end for them.
Exactly.
So go ahead and leave in your comments who you thought your favorite character was and why. And we'd be interested in seeing what that is as well and discussing that.
Exactly. Alright guys, we hope you have enjoyed this video. Like we said before, go ahead and check out Matt's channel. He definitely has some cool stuff going on over there. And with that, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and we will catch you guys next time.
Take care.